Good morning, family. Good morning, friends. Because I only speak every 3 months, it came to me a couple of months ago that my message for today would be about joy. So when Deb said our special service last week was going to be about joy, I thought, well, all right, we'll have joy 2 weeks in a row. But then it got changed. So guess what? We still get a service about joy. In his teachings through me, Yeshua is constantly sharing about joy, encouraging us to go out into the world in joy, telling us that the joy that awaits our awakened awareness in the queendom of heaven is nothing like what we experience through our earthly sensory perception. What we experience as joy in our earthly state of awareness is a sort of toned down, reduced vibration version of the state of bliss that is a characteristic of God and her creation. Believing as we do in separation, our awareness is most often too dulled to feel it. The nature of creation is unity, however. So it is when we drop our investment in believing in separation that the awareness of joy simply comes to us. So if joy is not happiness, contentment, satisfaction, pride, awe, delight, excitement, or any combination of these earthly human emotions, then what is it? What is Yeshua talking about? All the Christmas exhortations to receive joy to the world seemed like a pipe dream to me as a kid. I rarely felt joy, except maybe when singing or when out in the grandeur of nature. I never saw it enacted anywhere. People didn't seem to have any idea of what this joy to the world actually was. But in my heart, I knew there had to be some truth in there somewhere. Why else would the angels have said, "Fear not, we bring you good tidings of great joy"? My first big window into experiencing this joy that is out of this world came through a car accident in 1988. An elderly woman turned left right in front of me while I was driving at the 40 miles per hour speed limit. My perception of time slowed way down while I made very careful calculations about how hard to turn the wheel and step on the brakes in order to mitigate the impact of the crash while preventing my car from flipping over or spinning out. When there was nothing more to calculate, the next thought was, I could die. And then my thinking mind simply disappeared. I will never have a memory of the impact because the level of consciousness that is perceptual awareness had simply ceased. And what was revealed was bliss. There's no way I can describe this in words, but I'll give it a shot. It was a pure distillation of the most perfect contentment, joy, delight, awe that I have ever experienced. There were no flaws or impurities or variations. It was timeless and utterly peaceful. So now I knew with direct personal certainty, beyond the egoic level of consciousness that is focused on survival, lies this ceaseless bliss of universal consciousness. It continues on, never ceasing, just outside of our superficial awareness. At around the same time, I was starting with Buddhist practice. So when I heard this state of ceaseless bliss described by the Buddha many times during those years, I knew that what he said was true. When I let go of being concerned about my survival, the thinking mind disappears, and the perfection of God is all that remains. This is what is called nirvana, the cessation of the thinking mind. Having this state revealed through shock did motivate me to continue on the slower and more stable path of steadily releasing stuck places in the mind, step by step, revealing glimpses of joy, until we all arrive at the awareness of bliss as the only state. I can say I'm making progress, but I certainly do not live in a state of constant joy. The year I turned 50, this heavenly joy began to reveal itself to me through a more stable process, starting with reading The Course in Miracles. I felt the words of this text as a direct vibration of truth in my heart, a sensation of a quality completely different from anything I had experienced. It was so compelling. There was nothing else I wanted to do but read. This quality of heavenly joy became stronger when I started the practice of writing questions and then writing down whatever answer came to my mind. The words were clearly from an infinite source of wisdom, not from my normal level of consciousness. This process was exhilarating. And again, there was nothing else I wanted to do other than to experience this joy of connecting inwardly with spirit. But of course, one has to also live one's life. And as we all know, it's in the living that the teachings are integrated. So this process of unfolding joy continued as each successive level of spiritual knowing was revealed to me. I began to see energy patterns in people's bodies. I inwardly saw images that explained their life experiences. And energy was at times transmitted through my hands, and healings occurred. Now, all I wanted to do was provide intuitive readings and energy healings for people. There was nothing as compelling as the ecstatic joy I felt at the pure vibration of love and wisdom coming through me. At that point, the joy of being in this flow of wisdom felt disconnected from my normal life. The goal of spiritual practice is to relinquish completely the consciousness that we think of as normal, as something of no value, until all that remains is the bliss of being in love with God. This is what Yeshua describes as living in reality with a capital R. This requires a stepwise clearing process as life presents experiences to each of us that highlight places where our beliefs are still keeping us small. This process of unlearning old beliefs, mostly through forgiving ourselves and letting go of resentments, in order to make room for the establishment of joy, is highly individual and very challenging. There is a reason. Matthew, in chapter 7, verse 13, quotes Yeshua as describing the spiritual path as the narrow gate that few choose to enter. I have a friend who is also gifted with the ability to enter into the level of awareness in which we are in communication with Yeshua and other beings who reside in the Christ consciousness. Entering into this space together in joint meditation and sharing experiences there has produced the feeling of being overwhelmed by boundless joy. These experiences have shown me that this quality of inner communication is where we are all headed. It is the natural state of our being. Well, then came the miracle of seeing Yeshua in front of me, conveying his words to my mind and surrounding me with his vibrational energy. He continued to speak through me for 3 years, always only while I was in communion with friends on the path. The Christ consciousness reveals itself through the joining of minds with the shared intention of seeking it. Where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with them. Matthew chapter 18, verse 20. Here is how he started speaking through me. Please notice his emphasis on enjoying being in the Christ consciousness. Look outward, which is looking inward, but look at the vastness of the whole, the completion of everything in its exquisite, ever unfolding beauty, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy knowing that you are aware of all of this as yourself, and knowing that you are not alone. You are always in love. You are in love with whatever energy you are aware of being close to, and aware that you are in love with all energies, whether they are next to you or apparently somewhere further away. It is such a miraculous unfolding process. This is a glimpse of the queendom. This is a glimpse of where I reside with the other enlightened ones. It is so much more than what you think of as Earth. You think of Earth as enormously varied and complex with so many places, and that is all true. And yet, this is an exponentially different quality of moreness. Just enjoy being with each other, with me and the other great beings who are so happy to be welcoming you to this state. Our desire is for all of you to become aware that this is your true home. I'm thinking of the song the band sang this morning about being in our true home, because all of you are the same as all of us. And we are not fully content until all of every last piece of light that thinks it's separated has traveled its way back up the great ray to the source. We cannot go on into the fullness of creation if there's any one little piece of light that seems to think that it is left behind. This is what I meant when I said to you, I'm the shepherd, and I do not forget any of my sheep, because my sheep are myself. How can I forget any part of myself? You have thought that being my sheep meant being something less, just a sheep. This is only a metaphor to show you the depth of my love, that I forget no one because you are the same as myself. How can I forget you? Beloved friends, whenever I give a sermon here, I know I'm talking to myself, telling myself what I most need to know. And right now, I most need to know that everything I've just told you is true, and that there really is the reality of unity consciousness, which we call Christ consciousness, that is pure love and wisdom, and that when experienced is felt as joy, as bliss, as ecstasy. This world of suffering and greed and death is not reality. Often, I'm able to see what appears as conflict in the world as a kind of vibration, ripples that extend outward from a point of fear that I don't believe in anymore. I see it with a kind of gentleness, with compassion, not with despair. This doesn't mean I don't read the news and weep for the profound suffering of humanity caught in fear. But seeing the suffering just strengthens my resolve to continue on the way. There are so many passages from Yeshua's teachings in which he describes the joy of residing in unity consciousness. But the one I was nudged to share with you is this: the vision of the heavenly feast. You might want to close your eyes and let this vision come to your own inner awareness. Yeshua is gesturing to show a table laden with the most amazing food. It looks like food, but it also looks like beautiful lights. It's in the cave in the Himalayas where I have met with him many times. He is indicating that it is time for us to take our seat at the table and enjoy the feast of creation, the endless supply of nurturing and love and family communion. There are many other enlightened beings at this long table. Everyone is enjoying feeding each other and laughing and talking with whoever is nearby, and moving around. Just this amazing feast. I can see him now sitting at the end of the table, just radiating brilliant white light. And he is indicating to create space. There are more people joining the table. The celebration is ongoing. There are many other people coming up the mountain and into this cave of the beautiful golden light of the enlightened Christ consciousness. I have a question in my heart for Yeshua. If we spend our time celebrating at this feast, are we not neglecting our sisters and brothers who are struggling in the darkness down below? He indicates that I have not yet gotten used to being in both states simultaneously. He says that we have had difficulty understanding how he can be in everyone's minds and be himself and be in communion with all the enlightened minds all simultaneously, because the perspective of the universal Christ mind is something that we are not yet accustomed to. From the perspective of the ego mind, the simultaneity of time and space is not understandable. He's indicating for us to stay at this feast so that we know where our sustenance comes from. Our true sustenance comes from this feast and not from potatoes in the earth. The potatoes in the earth are necessary in the illusion, but they are illusion. This feast in the beautiful golden glow of the Christ mind is reality. When we stay in the delight of the endless supply of the creative power of God, which is also our own, then when we are walking on the earth, we do not lose awareness of the source of our creative supply. He is saying, yes, you are understanding what I'm conveying to you. I know this is challenging for you because of the appearance of separation on the earth plane. It is challenging to hold in your mind, always in consciousness, the connection with the nurturing source of God while you are walking on the earth. This is what I am supporting you in practicing now. I have described this before, how to be in the world, but not of the world. You are now at a place in your practice where it is time for you to maintain your awareness of being in the Christ mind so you can stay in that awareness while you are in the world. Being in the awareness of the Christ mind means being in the joy of the Christ mind. This image of the feast is to help you feel and see and experience the nurturing, the delight, the creativity, the generosity, the satisfaction in sharing and communion, and never having an end to what is possible. That is the Christ mind. That is the state of mind that you are now practicing staying in as you walk through what appear to be your mundane lives. I am reminding you that your lives are far from mundane. They are in no way ordinary. No one's life is ordinary. You are now understanding what that actually means. Never for a moment think you are not important. Remember, I have been with you always since before time began, and I am with you always until time ends. I am reminding you that I needed to take time away in the wilderness when I walked on the earth, because the pull of the belief in separation is very strong indeed. It is important to take time out of time to return to this feast of communion with light-minded souls. Even I, as a man, had challenges with remaining in communion with the Christ mind, with God. This is why it is written that I withdrew often to pray. I was not asking God for anything. I was returning to my awareness of my true home, which is the Christ mind with God. Only then, when I was fully sure of who I was, could I return to walk among people who were not yet sure about who they are. I know who you are. I was an example of a life lived knowing who I am. It is now your time to live your lives knowing who you are. I'm sending you my love in your hearts for you to feel the burning of the desire that we have for each other. All of the separated ones have this desire to be in communion, to be yourselves and be understood, to be known. I know you. I see who you are. I know you through and through. And now that you know that there is no stain in your consciousness, anything that you thought was a mistake is not a mistake. It was done on purpose so that you could experience yourselves as completely different from God as you possibly could. And in this way, you know that you have become yourself, and you know that God loves all of you. God can love every single last piece of everything you think could be wrong with you. And now you can come home. Celebrate all the mistakes. Celebrate what you have gone. Celebrate that you have gone to the depths of despair. That has all been necessary so that there is nothing left to explore that you think might still pull you away from God. And here is where it is so important to love everyone's mistakes. Not everyone has to experience everything bad, all of the despair. We are all aspects of the same child of God. So all of us together have experienced everything there is to experience. You can come home now. Your wanderings are complete. As you come home to live with me together in our shared heart, our magnetic pull becomes stronger and stronger, and we pull in more and more souls. They tune into their longing for love, for God, for understanding, for being known. There is such a feast of delight. My message to you today is to enjoy the feast. Walk around knowing that your supply of love and creative power is endless. There are no limits to what you can do. There is nothing anymore to be afraid of. I am reminding you to hold the earth in light in your hearts. Today, you are experiencing our shared heart in a more powerful way so that you can understand that when you hold the earth in your heart, you are holding it in our shared heart, the heart that we share with God. This endless power is what transforms the appearance of a tired earth into a vibrant earth. Do not be afraid of the death of the earth. Your power as the children of God is far too great to allow that to happen. Go in peace, go in joy, go in great celebration. Never forget how much I love you. I am so delighted that you have opened your hearts so that you can feel me. I have told you before that while it is lovely to hear a voice speaking my words, it is far more important for you to feel my vibration of love in your heart and emanating through your body and down into the earth, up into the heavens, around the earth, and through the hearts of all of our sisters and brothers. I adore you. I kneel down before you. Your power is infinite, and I am filled with gratitude that you are following the way that I showed you. I'm just ahead of you. That's all. I'm your brother. I'm with you all the way. I told you I would be with you until the end of the age. I have never let go of that promise. And with that, go in great celebration, bringing the peace of the love of God out into the world. Amen.